Hello everyone. Today I'm taking up second chapter of the book uh, Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. This chapter Long Walk to Freedom is the autobiography of Nelson Mandela, who was the former South African president. The chapter is the extract from the book Long Walk to Freedom. It is his autobiography. Autobiography is life history of a person written by the person himself. It includes the description of the inauguration ceremony and citation from his speech and about his journey being a freedom fighter. This chapter says about the other countless people who fought for their freedom in South Africa. In South Africa, a brutal practice named apartheid was very popular in those days, in early 90s, early 20th century. It referred to the discrimination between people on the basis of their race, color, creed. It was one of the most brutal societies in which dark-skinned people were deprived of their basic rights. This chapter, Long Walk to Freedom, is giving us an overview of struggles of Mandela for making the society with no discrimination on the basis of their color, caste, race, age, and gender. Dear students, this chapter, A Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela, is all about the struggle of freedom of South Africa. On 10th of May 1994, Nelson Mandela has taken the vow as the first black president of South Africa, and therefore it was becoming a newborn democratic country. For the first time, South Africa emerged as a democratic republic on the world scenario on this particular day, 10th of May 1994. Let's move ahead to the text of this chapter. 10th May dawned bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respect before the inauguration. Dear students, 10th May was the day when Nelson Mandela sworn in as the first black head of the state in South Africa. It was after years of struggle that his anti-racist party came into power. Until then, the seat had always been occupied by white presidents. That is why the author referred to the day as bright and clear. It was a morning full of hope. Days before this date, many notable personalities started, congratulating him for his victory in the elections. For the first time in the country's history, so many international leaders came together in South Africa. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil. So this was the first time when international leaders in great number, they came to South African soil, because earlier apartheid was in practice. So rest of the world, people from the rest of the world, they kept a distance from South Africa. They did not want to come to South Africa. So that's why this was for the first time they came to South African soil. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater formed by the Union Building in Pretoria. Dear students, inauguration ceremony took place in an open circular building, that is amphitheater, open circular building made of sandstone, consisting of Union Building in Pretoria city. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy, and now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. Apartheid was in practice for decades. white people, only whites were ruling over that country. White were in ruling, and they deprived black people. They were deprived of some individual basic fundamental rights. But now this was the first time that amphitheater looked like a rainbow. Earlier only whites were allowed to go there, but now this time people from all races, blacks, whites, red, dark people, everyone, they joined that they attended that function, that surname ceremony of Nelson Mandela. So that's why it looked like a rainbow of gathering of different colors. Now, on that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Zenani. On the podium, Mr. D. Clark was first sworn in as second deputy president, then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as first deputy president. See, he is saying on that lovely autumn day, 10th of May is supposed to be a summer day in our country, but since South Africa lies in southern hemisphere, so the climate is just opposite to ours. That's why he is mentioning here, on that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Zenani. The author was accompanied by his daughter Zenani on his big day. So first the two vice presidents, they took an oath. First Mr. D. Clark, he was first to sworn in as the second deputy president. Then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as the first deputy president. When it was my turn, I pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution and to devote myself to the well-being of the Republic and its people. When his turn came, he committed to respect, protect, and abide by the Constitution and to devote his entire self into the welfare of the country. He promised people that he will work for the well-being of the Republic and its people. To the assembled guests and the watching world, I said, today all of us do, by our presence here, confer glory and hope to newborn liberty. The author also mentions some parts of his speech where he said that everyone by his presence was giving rise to hope for a new beginning. So he thanked everyone for attending that meeting, that function. He said that today all of us by our presence here, we give glory and hope to newborn liberty. To newborn liberty, because South Africa came as a democratic republic on the world scenario that very day. So this newborn liberty he is saying for South Africa. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. He further said that previous rulers were discriminatory and lasted for long, but the ones who are given the opportunity to rule now would stand up against discrimination. He is glad to host a ceremony with the presence of global leader. It is an achievement in itself. So he further said that human disaster, that apartheid system, he called that apartheid system as human disaster, and it lasted too long because white peoples ruled over that country for many years. It must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. And now there was a planning in his mind that he wanted to make South Africa a place, a society which all humanity will be proud. Now he further said, we who were outlaws not so long ago have today been given the rare privilege to be host to the nation of the world on our own. Further he said that we were outlaws earlier because some countries which had served diplomatic relations with South Africa due to practice of apartheid. But this time Earlier, people or industries or politicians from other countries, they did not want to come to South Africa because apartheid was in practice there. Now today, they all have come there on that soil. So have today been given the rare privilege. He is saying that it is a privilege, a kind of privilege, rare opportunity for all of us, that today we are hosting all such people from the entire globe. There was a time in South Africa when for practicing apartheid, it lost all its international political relationships, but now there is no segregation on the basis of race and gender. Other nations are happy to have healthy democratic relationships. Finally, they have come to power, and everything has been sorted out. We thank all our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession with the people of our country of what is, after all, a common victory for justice, for peace, for human dignity. He further says that I thank you all the guests, all the international guests, for coming here, attending this function with the people of our country, what is, after all, a common victory for justice and peace and human dignity. He is saying his victory to be the victory of justice, peace and human dignity. So finally, when they have come to power, they pledged to make everyone proud. He thanked everyone, especially the international leaders, for joining him in celebrating achievement, which is a step toward an equal society where every human will be treated fairly. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. Dear students, emancipation means freedom from restrictions. So finally we have achieved this. There would be no restrictions. Anyone can join politics. It would not be based on the complexion. Earlier only whites were allowed to join politics, but now everyone has the fair amount of chance. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, and suffering, gender and other discrimination. He also mentions that after a great struggle, they have finally achieved political freedom. His government promised to free everyone of the still existence, poverty, hardship and inequalities of all kind, along with assuring everyone of a country where no community will be considered inferior. So let's see this. We pledge ourselves to liberate all people. Earlier they were bound, but now he is saying that he is liberating all people of the continuing bondage of poverty and deprivation, suffering, gender and other discrimination. Earlier all such things were in practice. Now he is saying that he is liberating everyone from all such things. Never, never, never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa. He further says that his government promised to free everyone of the still existing poverty, hardship, inequality of all kind, along with he is ensuring everyone of a country where no community will be considered inferior. He then exclaims that freedom should rule and may God shower his blessings on their land. So I hope you liked it. Rest part I will take in the next session.